Welcome to Convergence Healing with Peter Bedard, where we empower you to heal your pain on every level of your being, body, mind, spirit. Our show is about sharing solutions for creating the life you want. We invite you to stand up and choose a life of health, happiness, and joy. And we're here to show you how. This is Convergence Healing.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Convergence Healing. I love you guys. I know you know that. This is my passion, and I totally appreciate you tuning in. You know, you are part of my life purpose now that you're listening to this show. My life purpose is to bring healing and awareness and consciousness into the world, how we think about ourselves and how we think about the world we live in. And I have a guest today who's pretty amazing. Her name is, I'm meeting her for the first time, and her name is Cheyenne Van Zutpen. Zutpen. It's German?
No, it's actually, I'm Danish.
Danish,
but it's
okay.
Dutch.
It's Dutch. Awesome. I love the Dutch. I love the Dutch. Have you been?
I have.
Okay, we're getting off.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, we're getting off target, but I can get distracted very easily. But our guest is here because I was really interested in not only her lineage, because comes from a very esteemed lineage. Growing up, I wanted to ask you about growing up. How did you grow up with parents like that? But
I'm daughter of a cultist.
as
It
daughter
was
of a
totally
cultist. Yeah, a totally different world. But I also was attracted to you because you're a professional chef.
Yes.
And in my reading about you, you also shared that you're a witch and that you have a practice of witchcraft.
Kitchen witch.
Kitchen witch, exactly. And how do you craft those elements? Because, you know, casting a spell,
Yeah.
right, is bringing in a bunch of different ingredients to create a particular outcome.
It's manifesting your intentions.
Exactly. So I want to get to that. But first, I have a quote that you guys all know that I always take some time to sort of meditate about my client, the people that I have coming on the show. And I just think about them, what I know about them, what I feel about them. And I go online and I just surf through a bunch of different quotes. And I find a quote that speaks to me in regards to the guest that we're having on. So I always like to start with that quote. Hopefully it inspires, right? So I have two quotes, and I have one for you that's from the Silver Elves. And they say, "My cooking spoon, my magic wand, of this dish you will be fond."
Oh, I love that.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
I like that. And the other one was from a woman named Lori Colwyn. And Lori says, "No one who cooks alone. Even at her most solitary, a cook in the kitchen is surrounded by generations of cooks past. The advice and menus of cooks present, the wisdom of cookbook writers."
I love that too.
Isn't that great?
I mean, there is kind of a magic between breaking bread and sharing. It's my fondest memories. Always growing up.
Absolutely.
When you're feasting and talking and laughing, and the heart of your home, and it's just warm and cozy.
Yeah. So you're creating that magic.
Absolutely.
Right. And
I've
I was
kind of
saying,
perfected that ritualistic atmosphere where it's intoxicating for the senses. You're gonna be spellbound. And I want you to smell something that like brings you back to your childhood, or like it just invigorates you with some like captivating memory of your past.
Now, that was one of the reasons why I was so attracted to you, right? How you're creating, it's not just cooking.
No.
You're casting spells.
Well, I actually fell in love with cooking because I started to make feasts for all of the 8 Sabbaths when I was a child. So when when the seasons changed, my parents didn't influence this, even though they're metaphysical, but I'd be in the kitchen making huge golden turkeys, and I was 12 years old. Like, what child has dinner parties at 12? And like all my friends would go into the backyard and
The
put
Van
all the...
Zutpens do, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. All the food on a stump to give to the animals after as like a sacrifice, and then go down to the beach in Malibu and have a bonfire.
Right.
So that's where I grew up.
Right.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, like when I was 12, so it's just kind of invigorated this. I need to cook. I need to share my magic with the world, and how this has influenced me as a person.
Right. Now, I have you on, and I confessed that earlier, that I have you on for a very selfish reason. I have you on because food has never been, it's not as a problem for me, but food has never been something that I really have cared much about. And I would like to bring more magic into my food. And
I think you should cook then purely for nutrition. If you don't care about the taste of the food, then
Oh no,
why
I
not
care
get
about the taste. I
optimal-
just never want to be in the kitchen. I am so not a foodie. I don't want to think about food. I don't want to do anything
You need a
with
private
it.
chef.
I do. And that is one of my goals. It is one of my goals that I will have a private chef because I don't really like being in a kitchen. I don't like thinking about what I'm going to eat. My mother wakes up in the morning and she's immediately thinking about what she wants for dinner. Right?
You sound like one of my clients. He
they're
told me to
foodies.
feed him like an infant when I first got there. Everything just has
What does that mean?
pre-prepared. He
Oh.
just wants to put it in a toaster oven, heat
Yep.
it. So
Yep.
I'll just go
Oh.
there, make a bunch of meals for the next couple of days, come back.
I am emphatically
restock.
shaking my head. Absolutely. Because I don't get that, but I want to.
Yeah.
I want to understand what that's like because I don't eat because I like to eat. I mean, as I've gotten older, I've gotten much a better palate and I can appreciate more flavors and all of that type of stuff.
Well, eating is a ritual, and it's something to be
Yes.
shared, like that quote that
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. And the only way I really like to eat is with other people.
Yeah,
Like I love to go out for food with my friends.
that's a beautiful
Love to do that. But they're all about the food. Oh, what restaurant are we going to? What are we going to have? You know, all that type of stuff. And I could care less.
thing. Do you care more about the atmosphere?
I don't even care about the atmosphere. I don't care. My husband cares a lot about the atmosphere, right, baby?
Romantic.
Yeah, I don't even care about the atmosphere. I could be sitting on a cold metal bench and really not care about it. But
There's something beautiful about that, actually.
okay, hey.
More of a minimalist.
Are you
You're-
listening?
Yeah, you're in your head a little bit more. It's not about what's surrounding you, more about just yourself and who you're with and the
Right.
connection.
That is what's important to me. And I know that sharing that around food is how most people really tune in, right? So food for me is about the ritual, I guess, of going and going out and just sitting at a table with somebody more than the actual contents on the table.
That says a lot about you as a human and what you
Does
value.
it? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I
interesting.
think
Yeah, it
so.
does say a lot what I value. I've never really thought about it that way, but because I could care less about the food, but I want to care more about the food.
Yeah.
So
Do you
that's
have
what
a
I-
strong connection to the earth at all? Do you think about
Oh,
where the seed,
yeah,
where
absolutely.
it comes from?
Well, I don't eat certain foods because of where, like, I don't eat meat. I eat poultry and I eat fish, but I don't eat red meat or pork because I've not liked how they are bred and how they're the food that the animals are handled
I commend
and
you
the
for that.
energy for that. I can't do it.
It's like you can taste the cruelty. Too.
Yes,
It's
yes.
so weird.
Yes, like the other day, it is a couple months ago actually. My husband was cooking a steak, I think it was, and I walked into the kitchen and I had to leave the kitchen. I couldn't stand the smell. And most people get really invigorated by that. They're like, ooh, that smells good, right? I was, oh my God, to me it smelled like death. I couldn't,
Have you
I couldn't
tried
do it.
grass-fed beef?
I just can't do beef anymore anyway. But that was sort of an extreme response. But I haven't eaten red meat probably in 20 years, maybe longer.
As a woman and the age of fertility, I definitely need the iron that
Right.
comes from the red
Right.
meat.
No,
but
I'm not
try
I don't want to make
only
it
do
bad.
Organic, free, good. I want it to have a good life, and
Yeah.
then at the end of its cycle, be on my dinner plate.
Yeah. I'm more the politics. I don't think it's wrong to eat flesh, and I don't think it's wrong to be a vegetarian or right to be
No.
a vegetarian or a vegan
Plants
or
are
whatever.
alive too. They have an energy force and they communicate.
Absolutely. So it's not about that for me. It's just like for me, and this is specifically for me in regards to meat, it's not the right thing for me to do as
Yeah.
far as red meat and pork. And cows are so smart. I can't.
They're like dogs.
They have such an emotional intelligence. I couldn't do it. But anyway, I want to learn from you some of that magic. How can we bring that sort of ritual, consciously magic more into our food?
Make it kind of a whole preparation and style. I mean, you have to consume life force in order to have life force, so you can't forget to eat. I mean, it's so important to feel good in your own body and to know your body and what foods don't work for you, like the beef.
Right.
So if you want, food to be better for you, maybe try cooking it, because maybe you'll fall in love with the actual act of preparation, and knowing your own taste makes everything better.
Right. Okay.
Because I know exactly what I want to eat all the time and
Do you?
exactly how
Yeah.
to do it. I don't really
never
like to
do.
even go out because I'm like, well, I know how I like this. And
Right.
yeah, it just makes it
That's-
kind of more fun for me.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So actually engaging in the preparation, that's
Yeah.
one thing. All
And
right.
knowing that certain herbs and different spices have
Mm-hmm.
certain properties, and if you're trying to feel a certain way, you want
Right.
to add that in there and really help your body be at its full potential.
So what herbs or flavors are your favorite? What are you into?
Favorite. I love cayenne pepper. I know it's the a little spice in there, garlic. My favorite herbs are rosemary, dill. I mean, I kind of eat everything. I love food. Like, I'm even one of those people who go to different countries and try like kangaroo and octopus. I know I probably shouldn't do that.
food
as
tour, right.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm just curious. So, I mean, that's what drew me to mysticism and spirituality. Even though my parents are super into this, it's not like some of my other siblings have fallen in the same pursuit. I think I'm their most mystical child in that sense. Is I followed their metaphysical and philosophical teachings. And
Right.
my dad, he was a world-renowned hypnotist. He was actually the very first person to ever be filmed on camera doing hypnosis in the 70s, and also the very first person to put it on 8 tracks. So first recordings and on television. So he was kind of a legacy in his own right.
Right.
And we used to travel all over the world. He'd hypnotize groups of over 1,000 people and have interpreters in different languages.
Right.
I was in homeschool for a few years in high school just so I could tour with them and help. So I got a really kind of invigorating experience on a spiritual level that was probably surpassed any high school education I could have acquired just in the classroom.
Sure. Absolutely. And they inspired in you to have this more mystical life, or is this something
Yeah.
you just sort of stepped into as a child? Or?
I just kind of stepped into it.
Yeah?
My dad did a lot of and my mom did a lot of past life regressions on me when I was
Really?
And they were like really way too true to fact. Like I told my mom how my feet were bound. And like that's China, you know,
Right.
just like little things that a 2-year-old does not know. Like how there's mass burial grounds in this one ruin in Mexico where they didn't find that for a couple of years until later. Knew all the names of the jaguar gods, and I was like, these strangers came and painted the village red. And they did. They used to mark the doors. So, like,
Right.
there was just these weird little interwoven things. And then my mom does these elaborate moon rituals now that were kind of inspired by me as a little kid, because I used to take her by the hands when I was like 4 and 5 and go, let's pray to the moon, Mommy. Let's pray to the moon. So, like, I was just kind of always a very mystical, kind of spiritual child.
Yeah. Really connected in with the elements,
Yeah.
which makes sense that food is part of your thing.
Yeah, I love to garden, too. I'm also a glass blower as well, my
Very cool.
extracurricular activities. And I'm a medium, so I feel very connected to the other side.
Oh, how interesting! Because one of our earlier guests was our psychic puppet guy. So his way in was through the puppet. That was how
Yeah.
he used to, how he brought spirit through. Right?
Yeah, I was glad to actually catch some of that because it's interesting to see what your vessel is to kind of feel okay with going outside of yourself. You know, some people do need a reflection in order to feel connected, in the sense that I was like, okay, I can let go of my lower self and speak to my higher self.
Right.
And has communications with the ethers.
Right. Okay. Very cool. So for somebody like me that may be tuning in and just listening to the show right now, one of the ways they can bring more of a spiritual quality to their food is to participate in the preparation.
Yes.
Right? Is to be conscious of the ingredients.
Yeah.
Right?
Or grow it yourself. I mean, there's no more satisfaction than growing your own peppers or tomatoes, just putting
Right.
that in there. Like, even if it's something small, you don't have to have an elaborate garden to feel proud that this is something you grew from seed to plant.
Right. Okay, so I'm confessing. I'm rolling my eyes, and and I can't imagine myself being in the kitchen and
You need a
having
private chef.
having to cook. But I really want to try and figure out. I want to bring more of the. I love ritual.
Yeah.
So this is something I really do love. Like I bring ritual into my client sessions all the time, and in fact, we'll do burns and we'll do prayers, or we'll do particular type of ritualistic, ceremonial type of things, right? But in a therapeutic practice, yeah. So I love doing that. in my life. I do it for myself. Like I've buried things before. I've written things down. Tererai Trent, who was pretty amazing. I got to know her for a couple days, and she was Oprah's big favorite guest of all time. Oprah said. Anyway, Tererai has a process where she takes the things that she wants, writes it all down, and puts it in a tin and buries that in the ground.
Manifester.
Exactly.
She's grounding her at dreams. That's
Exactly.
beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
Great witchcraft. It's making a reality.
right. And so I love bringing all those things in, but I haven't been able to figure out the food thing. So I need to.
Sounds like you need to buy some kind of rustic things that make it fun. Like
Rustic
some cast
things.
irons
Oh,
and
okay.
some
Uh-huh.
really good wooden cutting board and a great knife. 'Cause
Right,
a great knife
right,
makes
right.
all the difference as a chef.
Right.
And you just kind of really get into making something exotic, kind of sprinkle it in there, get a little hand movements going, put some intentions, raise the vibration of your food.
Okay.
Do you do any energy work yourself?
Yeah.
So you can actually raise the vibration of a plate by
Right.
just putting in intentions, and
Right.
because it's all energy.
I've started doing that
lifting its
silently.
life force.
I see people
Perfect.
sort of putting their hand over their food, and
Yeah.
that always feels really awkward to me. But I do that in my mind, as if
Yeah.
I'm extending that energy and calling the food into a higher consciousness or a higher level of nutritional quality or energy. that
Yeah,
type
so you
of thing.
see energy.
So yeah,
'Cause
I tend to do that.
There's different ways to perceive it. You can feel it, you can see it,
Right.
and then you can also just it's like this weird just connection. So, yeah.
All
So
right.
people hear it. They have little hums. Mm-hmm. You can hear them say "Oh, I hear the sound of the universe when I meditate," that
Right,
kind of a
right.
thing. Or making money is just the sound of rustling trees. It's a hum. It's you have to
Right.
tune into that. I've heard
Yeah.
a lot of billionaires say that that's when they meditate. It's a hum, and they resonate with it.
Interesting. Well, everything in the universe is a frequency.
Yeah.
Everything has a frequency. So, I would imagine there'd be a frequency to food. And I would imagine a different frequency for different types of food, whether it's plant-based or meat animal-based or that type of thing. So, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Perfect. I just got our little warning sign. Cheyenne, how did you end up in, I know you grew up in Malibu,
Yes.
right? And I know you're really putting yourself out there right now, right?
I am.
You're stepping into a whole new way of being. and that's relatively new from what I'm aware of, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty personal. I think it's because I grew up in a place like Malibu where everything is so out there and you had to protect your privacy. I'm always kind of like to be in the shadows, doing my thing, inspiring people, more like a muse than
Right, but
a
that's
face.
changing.
Yeah, and being pushed into it. Actually,
Right.
it took so many offers for me to finally take this psychic cooking show, Medium Rare, that I'm promoting here on your show today.
Awesome.
But yeah, it took a lot of people are just trying to, I don't know how these people find me, to be honest, but it's just come up in my face so
Right.
much that I'm like, maybe I should own it. And so I'm going to follow my intuition and
Yeah.
my gut feeling and go with it.
So I'd like to talk about that a little bit more when we come back from our break, because I hear so many times about people who know that there's something they are needing to be doing in the world, that they're here to do something, and they don't listen to that voice.
Yeah.
Right? They shove it down, they
It's
ignore
never
it.
a good idea.
What?
It's never a good idea.
To listen to the voice?
To
or
not listen to that voice.
It's never a good idea. And I think you're right. And so I'd like to know a little bit more about your story, about coming into acceptance of that maybe, or making the decision to actually say, okay, I'm going to do this. Fine. So when we come back, will you share that with us?
I will.
Awesome. We'll be
Absolutely.
right back.
All right.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. If you're interested, check out convergencehealingteas.com. You can try all of these yummy, delicious teas that are actually crafted in my home kitchen to help you feel better. We have a Sleep Well blend, a No More Anxiety blend, and all of those ingredients in there are designed to help you feel better through the traditional qualities that Mother Nature has to offer. Check it out. All right, everybody, we are back, and I am so blessed to have each and every one of you listening. I I just love you. I appreciate you. And I thank you ahead of time for talking about my wonderful guests with all of your friends. We got to spread the word. There are places to go and people to see and people to share with you guys. So come along with me on this journey. And thank you for being part of it. We're sitting down with my new friend and Cheyenne Van Zutpen. And I have to learn how to say your name better, Zutphen. I want to have an accent. I want to talk like this. I want to say like Cheyenne Van Zutpen or
It's
something.
actually in the province of Gelderland. It's a city.
Oh.
Couple hours outside of Holland.
It's beautiful. I love it. Yeah, one of my Holland made a big impact on me, so I love Holland.
It's very free spirited.
Very free spirited. But coming back here to the idea of free spirit, you are recently stepping, as you said, out of the shadows.
Yes.
Into a life where you're really sharing your work. And I'm always curious about those moments where people decide to take that risk, make that leap, right? Because in the LGBT community, and this is common throughout, but as you know, we're on a platform that's LGBT based. In that community, there's a lot of holding back.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of censoring. There's a lot of holding back. There's a lot of not living in your truth, or doing things that you think you're supposed to do according to your social group, who you grew up with, your family, your culture, your religion, whatever it is. And then there's also the thinking you're supposed to do what how you're supposed to be in the gay community itself, or LGBTQI, trans, whatever it is, that you have to be this way or that way, right? And in that process of having to be a particular way, people don't live their truth.
It's hard to be different.
It is hard to be different. And yet, it's the easiest thing when you accept it.
Absolutely. No, it feels freeing.
It's freeing. It is
There's
freeing.
something within yourself that just feels whole, that you've been missing.
Yeah.
And when you try and separate yourself from that, you're always going to feel lost.
Yeah. So you're stepping into your truth.
Yeah.
You're stepping into bringing your message, your work, yourself out to the world instead of hiding in the shadows, as you put it.
I mean, I was always really taught to have a voice, even though I liked my privacy so much because of my outspoken parents. But when I was 22, I moved to Seattle for 3 years. And I knew I wasn't supposed to go there, but I just needed to flee LA for a little while. I just felt suffocated in my whole, home city. So I go there, and I ended up moving. It always just didn't sit well with my intuition. I absolutely love that city. It's my favorite city in America. But I knew I needed to come home. And then the Food Network reached out, and they wanted to shoot a pilot with me, which was called Medium Rare, actually. So it's so weird that I'm actually doing a show called Medium Rare for somebody else. So I came home and we shot the sizzle, the pilot.
Right.
They bought us, kept us on retainer for a year. And then it just didn't end up panning out because I felt I didn't really want it. It didn't feel like the right fit. As much as it's a chef's dream to be on Food Network, it's just, I didn't think it was going to be allowed to be its best. So I'm glad to have a productive team that's coming out with a funky, fun vision.
Yeah.
It's kind of a morbid subject, right? Being medium rare, you're medium in the kitchen, channeling dead people for the recipes. It's like, it's a little intense.
I don't think that's morbid at all. In fact, I see that as very uplifting because, you let's say you got a recipe from somebody and it's their Polish grandmother or something, right? And you start channeling as you're cooking her favorite recipe or something.
That's exactly what it is.
I think that's joyful. I don't think that's morbid at all. But let's back up a little bit because you had a moment where you had to step into your truth.
Yes.
What was that like? What got you to step over the edge or to jump off the cliff, as people say?
I was just running into roadblock after roadblock trying to do my own thing.
Right.
So it was
you're
just
pushed.
Yeah, it was like, no, you can't take this detour. You need to follow your gut feeling and really go for the right road.
Right.
So I guess I'm divinely guided in that sense, but sometimes I just want to do something different. I'm kind of adventurous and spontaneous.
Yeah.
So, but I haven't really been able to escape the fact that I'm a mystic and have these crazy gifts.
Right.
And also the food connection is just my connection with the earth because I am a pagan. So it's my way of kind of integrating the two in this psychedelic, atmospheric, beautiful, hybrid way of ritualistic food.
Yeah. Now, okay, you threw that out there. Most people have a negative connotation to the word pagan, and I want to blow that out of the water.
Yeah, I don't
So,
understand why that is because
Well,
it's such an earth-based
I know
religion.
why it is, but I'm not in that camp. I don't think that way, but I know why people think that way because I was brought up that, the word pagan meant less than, right? Meant that you weren't of the chosen, that type of
Are you thinking of heathen?
bullshit.
I think heathen is
no,
because
I'm
pagan
thinking pagan.
religions are kind of it's pre-society most of the time, so it's just
Right.
it's
I
nature
prefer
worship.
indigenous religions
There you go.
more than pagan.
Yeah.
So I like that word indigenous because I think it's not that you can't call it whatever you want to call it, but from my point of view, it feels more grounded. Indigenous feels more like it's of the earth instead of something put upon the earth. So I understand where you're coming from, but I want you to talk a little bit about what that means from your point of view to be a pagan.
Well, before we get into that,
Yeah.
honestly, every religion has pagan roots.
Yes,
because we're
it does.
all
Yes, they
following
do.
the solar calendar. So it's the seasons and the changing and whatever metaphor you want to give it, whatever morality and code you're trying to help people with stories. I mean, it's all kind of beautiful because it's a way of guidance, really. So I'm not prejudiced towards any religion. I kind of embrace them and I'm fascinated by all of them.
Yeah, me too.
But for me, being a pagan is honoring those roots of I follow a celestial calendar. I am in this universe and I understand that I am an energetic being and there's energy all around me and that we have control over what kind of energy we put out and get in. And then also we have a kind of a duty to take care of the earth
Yes,
that
we do.
nurtures us as all of the creatures that live
Right.
here. It's a fragile ecosystem that we take for granted.
And we destroy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing a little bit about that. One of my friends met years ago when I first moved to LA, and she's a witch. And she has a coven and all that type of stuff. And
Amazing.
she said to me once, because I didn't have an issue with it. I loved that she was a witch. I thought it was very exciting. But she helped me understand a little bit more about witch and the word witch to sort of get it out of the Hollywood understanding of like
Yeah,
that
of course.
that whole type of thing,
Stereotype.
right? The stereotype. That witches are the shaman of Europe.
Yes.
Witches are European based, right? It's that indigenous religion that came from the earth, from the European understanding, right?
We're herbalists and healers.
That's exactly right. They're herbalists and healers. Exactly right. Yeah, they know the potions,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, it's not evil. I mean, you
No.
can be in your intentions,
In
but it's just
any,
owning
in
your own
any. I
personal
mean,
power.
how much of the Christian faith has been actually based in very evil,
Yeah.
evil historical type of things, whether
And
it's the Crusades or whether it's the child abuse that's been going on these last many years.
And they promote duality with the invention of Satan.
Yeah.
My religion doesn't have that.
Yeah, I don't believe in this. I don't actually believe in evil. I believe that people can do evil things. Do I
Yes.
believe in evil? No. I don't believe in the devil either. I don't believe in any of that,
No.
that kind
It's
of
just
stuff.
do you have malicious or benevolent intent?
Exactly. And that's why, another reason, right, we could add to the list of why I was really excited about seeing you. I when I approached your managers to have you put on my show, one of the questions, I said this earlier, was why would you want a chef on your show? And I said, what do you mean?
Not just a chef.
She's not just a chef. She's pretty amazing. And they didn't say it exactly like that. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
But that was the basic thing. Like, well, can you give us an angle?
I also teach witchcraft
Right.
and do all of these other things. So.
And that's all about healing.
Yeah.
I mean, witchcraft is really focused on that. And you do
is.
that through not only your spirituality, but you also do that through food.
Mm-hmm.
And you do that through something that I need to pay attention to more, which is why I appreciate it.
I feel like
Okay.
I'm teaching grounding, you
Yeah.
know, how to be centered in yourself and progress yourself in the highest potential of who you could be.
Yeah. And then I think that's what everybody needs, and especially our community.
Yeah.
Especially this LGBTQ community that I belong to. We need more grounding. There's so much fear. that is running around rampant, and shame and unworthiness and all that.
You guys
type
are
of
all
stuff.
so normal.
God, yeah, I know. It's almost disappointing.
It's true,
I'm so
though.
normal.
It's amazing. No, I love that. I mean, I live in West Hollywood,
Right.
so I'm a big fan of the gay community.
Yay! Well, we're going to take a really quick break and come right back with your tips for people creating a more harmonious life.
Okay.
All right. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you're interested, check out convergencehealingteas.com. You can try all of these yummy, delicious teas that are actually crafted in my home kitchen to help you feel better. We have a Sleep Well blend, a No More Anxiety blend, and all of those ingredients in there are designed to help you feel better through the traditional qualities that Mother Nature has to offer. Check it out. All right, we are back, and I love my breaks. But here's a break is like a time where I get to really connect even more deeply with the people here I'm sitting down with. So I am so excited. We had a quick little chat about some of your tips, and I find them really interesting and unique. And it's not just, hey, take care of your body. I think that's important. Exercise, that meditate. Those are all really good, really valid things. But yours are really specific. They're meaty. I like that. So you have a couple tips that to share with our listeners. Take it away.
To ground yourself, I recommend raising your own vibrational energy to charge your chakras and also see, feel, or hear the energy around you and imagine it expanding. And sometimes you have to protect yourself with this energy. You can feel people sucking it away from you, and there's a way to just keep it back in and just imagine it moving all around you, because we're never stagnant, we're never still.
No, we're not.
And that will really help reinvigorate and just energize you in every way possible.
So tell us how to charge our chakras. What is that?
So your crown chakra is white. Your third eye is going to be purple. Your throat is blue, but you can also do silver blue if you need to speak, like I did before here. I don't know if you noticed. I was sitting there kind of meditating. Green is your heart chakra. Your solar plexus is yellow. Under your belly button right there is orange, and your root chakra is going to be red.
Right.
And then your energy fields could be multiple colors. I don't know if you've seen people do aura readings, but we're always changing, expanding. If you're looking for different feelings, there's different colors you could tune into. Or if you just want to feel spiritually protected, I like to imagine white or like white fire surrounding me. I feel that is the best way to get more energy. I'm energizing myself as I'm talking right here.
Yeah, you are. So if somebody's listening and they want to charge their chakras, do they just need to think, oh, I'm thinking about my red chakra, or what?
You're going to have to find how you communicate with energy. Do you hear it? Do you feel it? Do you see it? I'm a very visual person, so I actually see it, and I'm very imaginative, so it's just kind of like... so I feel like I can just bring it down. I also did quantum energetic healing with that Brazilian healer named Fatima when I was 14, and she handpicks her students and only comes to America every 10 years. So I got a special introduction to how to see colors from her.
Nice.
But there's different ways to train yourself. If you don't think you possess this, you do. And you can just get to know yourself, get to know your body and your energy. I highly recommend that.
Somebody who's never done that before, I want to make sure that we're speaking to not just people that know what we're talking about, know our language already, but somebody who has no concept of what we're talking about. So if they were sitting there while we're listening, as they are sitting there, let's say, while they're listening to us, and we're thinking charging the chakras, I'm going to get in touch with, let's say, the heart chakra, and the heart chakra is green. And I'm going to sit with my heart chakra, and I'm going to listen. Maybe I'm going to listen and hear a sound, or maybe I'm going to see it, and I'm going to bring that color into my heart, right? Maybe I'm going to feel it. It's going to have a weight or an energy to it, a buzzing or something.
So sit down someplace quiet. Put your hands out to receive, and your feet on the floor flat, grounding. Don't cross your legs.
Got it.
And just kind of close your eyes and see if you can feel or hear or see, just imagine colors. And when you reopen your eyes, can you see that color? And you can train yourself to kind of inspired to eventually start to see colors if you're looking for it.
Right.
So, and then you'll start to notice when you look at other people, oh, their heart chakra is a little dull. Oh, they need that. And sometimes, I'll just put my hand on them a little bit and just wave them in and just balance their chakras.
Sure.
I don't think that's too, if I have a personal relationship, it feels a little easier, but sometimes I do it to perfect strangers.
All right.
I think they need some uplifting.
Absolutely.
But yeah, there's different ways to get in tune with your own energy, and you just kind of have to find that right way, and that's a good place to start.
Okay, great. So just sit there, get yourself quiet, put your feet on the floor, let your hands open up to receive whatever.
Open your senses.
Open your senses, and just tune into the different parts of you, those different chakras.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I mean, humans are such complex beings.
Well,
we're
and
limited
how
by our
simple, though.
perception, but at the same time, we don't. There's only so much you can notice unless you're looking for it. So, you could walk by the same person every day and never notice them until they smiled at you. And then all of a sudden they've made an impression and it's moved you to remember it.
Yep.
So if there's a certain way for you to tune in to energy and then kind of memorize that frequency of feeling, then it's going to become easier and easier for you.
Every scientific discovery was always there. We just had to learn how to see it.
Exactly. I love,
Yeah.
perfectly.
So you had something else to share.
So also in cooking,
Yeah.
I want to get a
And
little
you have
more
your
magic
book.
there.
You have a book coming
I
out,
am
right?
writing a book,
Yeah.
yes, on, kitchen magic. But I recommend sigil cooking. Everybody can feel a little inspired by symbols, especially ancient ones.
Okay, now you said the word sigil.
It's a magical symbol. So
It
you
means-
can create your own, or you can use some that are already there. The pentacle in pagan culture is probably the most well-known, but it's not going to have as much personal significance as it would, a protection symbol, a rune symbol.
Right.
Play with your culture.
Right.
But you can carve that into a pie crust. You can wood burn onto your spoons. Then, your tools are going to be invigorated with the magic that you're trying to put into your cooking.
So engrave that symbol that
Yes.
has an element of magic to it because you're imbuing it, right?
Yes.
With goodness, with your consciousness,
You're
with your
enchanting
thoughts.
it.
You're enchanting it. Awesome. So, and to put that on your cooking utensils, on your dishware, to put it on the crust of your pie.
It adds intention.
Yes, it's very much like the studies of Masaru Emoto, right? With the water.
Yeah.
Right? You're putting
Yes.
an intention in the water, and the water is actually recording that intention. So
I mean, that's
the
what
sigil,
holy water is.
Exactly. That's exactly what it's a blessing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what holy water is. So I like that we're taking it out of, this sort of we're bringing the ordinary into the mystical, and we're taking the woo-woo out of the mystical in a way, right?
Kind of, yeah. It's
Right.
it's very earthy. It's practical.
Yeah,
in an odd
it's very
sense, it's
practical.
the most practical. So it's just learning to be the most human.
Yeah. Yeah. So put a sigil,
Yes.
right? How do you spell that? S-I-D?
It's S-I-G-I-L.
S-I-G-I-L. S-I-G-I-L. So look that up, people. Put these enchanted symbols, right?
Yes. Google it. You'll be inspired. And actually, if you go on Pinterest, they'll teach you how to make your own.
Very cool. Very cool. And tell everybody how to find you. You have a book coming out?
I do have a book coming out. My Instagram name is Miss Van Zutpen. That's MISSVANZUTPHEN. I'm also on Twitter with that same name. And I also have a website, which is www.gourmetkitchenwitch.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. And I really appreciate how open you are to sharing your work, to sharing your beliefs, and to share your heart. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, super glad to have you here. All right. So, for everybody listening, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys, and I am asking you to share our message. This is a message of love, acceptance, and kindness. Loving kindness, practicing that loving kindness with each other and for each other. As you do that, the world becomes a better place, and your life will improve tenfold. I know that to be a truth. So, thank you so much. We love you. I appreciate your tuning in. And my people, have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.